Today I'm going to be making a weekend favorite with a little twist. Enter my Mediterranean-inspired lamb burgers with tzatziki. To start off, you're going to need about 500 grams of minced lamb, which is really great to use because the fat content, it keeps the burgers together and keeps them really, really juicy. And all I'm going to do is add some finely chopped fresh rosemary to my mixture and a clove of garlic. Let's get a nice big clove. And you can crush the garlic or mince the garlic. I'm going to use my favorite method and use my grater. It can be fine or coarse. It really doesn't matter. So get that garlic in. Now some people like to add breadcrumbs or egg or whatnot to their patty mixture. I don't. I like to go as simple as possible. I feel if you're using good quality meat with a high fat content, or middle fat content should we say, you really don't need the addition of any binders like egg or breadcrumbs. Great, that's in. Next, I'm going to season it up with a bit of this Mediterranean spice rub from a company called Get Spice. It's a local company. I discovered them last year and I really, really love their product. So this is a great little addition to have just to flavor things up. And then of course, a generous amount of cracked black pepper and some sea salts. A little bit more. And then all you need to do is get mixing. Remember, the higher the fat content of the meat that you use, of the mince that you use, the easier it is for your burger to bind together and stick together. So I do know that lamb mince can be quite pricey. If you want to eke it out by interspersing it with, or mixing it with beef mince, you can also do that. Pork mince is another viable option, but of course I do love the kind of herbaceous flavor of lamb. And since we're here on the West Coast, why not use Sunfelt lamb to make a delicious burger on a sunny day? Great, now that is all mixed together. All we're going to do is grab a plate and then use clean hands to take a nice amount of the mixture, roll it into a ball. Obviously the size of the patties depends on what you want to use them for. You can make smaller ones for little cocktail burgers or bigger ones, also depending on the size of your bun. Today I'm actually using beautiful sesame butter brioche buns from Rosemead Bakery in Yzerfontein. And so they're quite a large bun, so I'm going to try and make the patty according to the size. In fact, keeping that in mind, add a bit more mince mixture to my creation here. So as you can see, because of the fat content in the lamb mince, it's holding together beautifully, which makes life a lot easier when you fry them up. So once you've got your ball, just start flattening it down. You can use a burger press, but honestly life is too short. Just use your thumbs to press it out, making sure you seal any corners that crack. Sorry, edges that crack, not corners. And remember that the burgers themselves will shrink when you cook them. So try and get them as large as possible. There we go. I think that's a winner right there. And then simply repeat with the rest of the mince mixture. We now have 4 beautiful patties, and I'm going to refrigerate these guys until I'm ready to cook them. So with a traditional beef burger, you generally have things like pickle, tomato, cheese, onion. I'm pretty much going to keep to the same principle, although I'm going to make my tzatziki to go on these lamb burgers. I'm not going to add any sort of cheese to lamb because I feel lamb is really, really rich. And so the tzatziki will add a lovely freshness just to cut through that fat and that richness. Let's start off with our cucumber actually. So I'm just going to take half of a standard cucumber. Now there's so many different ways that people like to make tzatziki. This is my kind of little cheats way that doesn't involve any kind of resting time or draining time or salting. So you just take a really fine grater, sorry I started ahead, a really fine grater, and you're just going to grate your cucumber, skin and all, and seeds, into a dish. And this grater is really sharp, and I've done damage to myself before, so I'm hoping I don't repeat that experience today. Generally, I like to make about a cup of tzatziki for 4 burgers, as any left over keeps really well in the fridge, and I adore eating it with roasted potato wedges. So I've got a really nice kind of cucumber pulp going on right now. And obviously the key to a good tzatziki is to not have it runny and watery, but I'll show you my trick now. And it really is, I guess, the most unelegant of things to do when it comes to tzatziki, but it works and it's quick. Okay, got to the end of our cucumber. Let's get all that goodness in there. Okay, so we now have a bowl of a very soupy looking cucumber, and all you're going to do is grab a handful and squeeze and squeeze. You want to get rid of all of that juice in the bottom. Again, a very tactile, hands-on approach, not very elegant, but it does the trick. So we'll get rid of that liquid. I think there might be a bit extra, so let me just be sure. You can also do the more traditional method of salting it and draining it, but I do not have the patience for that. Okay, now we've got our cucumber. I want to add in another bit of garlic. Let's make it a smaller clove this time. And once again, we can use the grater just to get that in. There is already garlic in the burger, so you don't have to add this part in, but the more the merrier is my attitude towards garlic. And just grate that in. Next up, seasoning. I absolutely love tzatziki with either mint or dill or both. Today I'm just going to use dill. I wasn't able to find mint. So I've just got probably about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of finely chopped dill, fresh dill. Get all of that in. I just love the kind of very herbaceous scent of dill. It's a lovely thing to use. Next, I've got beautiful old-fashioned Cape lemons that I got from a friend of mine, and I'm going to use the zest and juice of one of them. By all means, go for any lemon that you've got at hand. Let's actually grate it straight into the bowl. Ooh, that's a powerful grater. Okay, I'm not bleeding, so it's fine. So just zest it straight into the bowl. All those lovely citric oils coming through. Again, this just adds a lovely brightness and freshness that's going to cut through the fattiness of that lamb. And cut our lemon in half. And squeeze out the juice. I think to be safe, go in with the juice of half a lemon first, because once again, we don't want our tzatziki to be watery. That is never fun. The juice of half a lemon. We'll keep the other half if we require it. And then, oh, let me just dry off my hands. Let's go in with some pepper. And a nice amount of salt. Cucumber loves salt. And then what I love to put in is the tiniest drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. No more than a teaspoon. And then I'll Greek yogurt. I use full fat, full cream, double thick Greek yogurt. I feel anything else is sacrilege for tzatziki. You can even use full fat cream cheese, plain cream cheese. That also works really well. It goes straight in. And we mix it up. Perfect. That can be refrigerated until you're ready to assemble your burger, and I'm going to get this area ready to fry up our lamb burgers. We're ready to fry our burgers. You are going to get a large non-stick pan and put it on over high heat. And then take a bit of olive oil, just about a tablespoon into the bottom of the pan, and we're going to heat that up. My oil is nice and hot, and I'm going to put the first patty in. I don't even need my spatula, I'm just going to use my hands. The burgers cook for probably about a minute on the first side before flipping them. My pan's not entirely non-stick, so they should have a really beautiful browned crust on them. That shows you that the meat has been sealed, and that's where the flavor is. Looking good. So although lamb is very high in fat, it's not as much of a saturated fat as beef. So it's a bit healthier and great for anyone doing the Mediterranean diet. Personally, it's my favorite red meat. If you want your burgers a really nice medium rare, I would suggest going for another 30 to 40 seconds at most on the other side and letting them rest. I like my lamb just pink, so I'm going to let them go for a bit longer. You can at this point also use your spatula to just flatten the patties down a bit. You really want to get that surface area wider or larger so they crisp up beautifully. Also, whatever residual juices run out of these patties, keep, because they'll make the most amazing lamb fat roast potatoes that you can have with the leftover tzatziki. See, I think of everything. They don't take long. And we're going to leave them to rest for a moment. Now we're ready to assemble our Mediterranean lamb burgers. So first I'm going to slice open these beautiful buns. Some red onion. Lovely wrapped tomato. Again, just into rounds. Now it's time to assemble our burgers. Can move that over. So first, a nice dollop of tzatziki on the base. Then your red onion. Then your lamb patty. Some slices of fresh tomato. A little extra salt and pepper. And then finally, pile it up with loads of fresh peppery rocket. More Italian than Greek, but it is Mediterranean, so I won't split hairs. If you're feeling indulgent, which I certainly am, you can add another dab of tzatziki on the top half of the bun. And finally, I don't know how these guys are going to balance, but there we go. Close them up. Whoop. And here you go. My Mediterranean lamb and tzatziki burgers. The perfect lazy weekend lunch.